Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Video Game Vibes. I'm here, as always, with my boy, Grog Games. How are you?
Hey, what it do? What's going on, pod? I love you.
Of course.
That was just a general to the whole audience, yeah.
I am PatriotJax, and I've got really something very exciting for me anyway. This might not be exciting for a lot of people, but I've got something really exciting I just want to talk about in the intro. It won't take too long. So a few weeks ago, for you guys anyway, Faith, the indie game Faith Chapter 3 dropped, and I decided to stream it the day it came out, and I completed the chapter, but it was the stream that's the news I want to talk about. So I think the highest number of people I've had for a stream, I think ever, is sort of like 20. Or like 18, 20, something like that.
We're small.
I cleared 110 people on this stream.
At the same time?
Yeah.
What?
I know, it was so wild. It just kept going up. It was insane, dude.
Of course it was the one that I missed, too. I saw it on Twitter that you had tweeted it out. Hey, thanks, I had fun with the stream. We had so many people. And I was like, what? I missed it?
It was, like, so... I wasn't expecting it either. Like, I know I was streaming it, like, the day it dropped and that, but I definitely wasn't expecting that. And also apparently the dev DM'd me because he was watching it as well. I didn't know. Yeah, I know. Because I'd done some theory videos on Faith before because I really enjoy the game. And he commented on those in the past, and he was apparently in the chat, watching the stream. I don't think he put anything in the chat, but it was wild. But I've got to play the game again. Because that was just so full on, and it was great. I just had a great time. It's probably one of the best streams I've ever done. But I got to play the game and get the good endings.
Good work, Jax. Good work.
I just wanted to pat myself on the back for that one.
No, you deserve it. I don't think I've ever had that many viewers. I think the most I've had was like 80?
Nice.
Maybe? Fall Guys? Fall Guys. Always Fall Guys.
Always Fall Guys, dude.
Season 7, I think, I was on release day. Yeah, I think I got to... Maybe I did get it 100. I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
Nice.
No,
Triple digits is something else.
But I think it's honestly cooler that the dev was there too. That's so awesome. I love it when devs reach out to us.
He's really cool. He's like always on Twitter, like doing memes and stuff. Yeah, cool guy. I don't want to assume. I say cool guy, cool person.
Cool person. Yeah. One time I was streaming the Stanley Parable, and someone came in claiming that they were the dev, and I couldn't tell if they were or not, but it seemed like they were.
Oh,
and if they were, shout out, thank you. I love you and your game.
Shout out to the devs of indie games. They are all friends of the stream.
Speaking of, I have one thing to talk about. If you listen to it's not a previous episode. No, the episode before the last episode, the Backrooms episode. We have a Backrooms episode of the podcast, guys. You should listen to it. It was pretty good. I did my yearly one recording of a horror game for my channel. For
October.
yeah. Even though it's it's not October anymore. By the time you guys are listening to this, and I actually played the Backrooms game that I did not play at the time during our podcast. I played the Complex.
The Complex.
Gonna be honest, freaked me out. It freaked me out a lot more than I thought it would.
How far did you get? Because I've played a bit of that.
I beat the whole thing.
Is that the one where it's like the found footage video?
Yes, it's like the found footage video.
That was.
Did you not finish it?
I played it and it started lagging, so I didn't end up making the video. Or I might have made a video for it, but yeah, it was very short. It's very cool though, like really, really well done.
Yeah, I won't spoil it for anyone, but yes, it was very well done. It was shorterish. It took me like 40 minutes, I think, to beat the whole thing. But it kept going, and I wasn't like sure if there was an ending, because like supposedly there's story behind it. You're an actual person. It's not like continually randomly generating levels. There's like the same levels and you're supposed to go through it. So yeah, it was a lot, and I didn't like how realistic it was, and I got scared. So, if you want to see me scared, check out my channel later on it.
I'm looking forward to that because that was really good. I've got to drop an indie game, a horror game for the.
Oh, you do. You just like you said, you streamed.
That's true.
Faith, right? Yeah.
Faith's good. You should go play that.
Faith's good.
But speaking of indie games, am I right?
Oh yeah, what a great intro for us.
Oh my god.
Today is my worst fear, which is I have to rank indie games. We are doing a top 5 indie game playlist.
This is torture. This is so hard. You know what's funny, right?
Difficult.
I started doing I don't know what you call them exactly, but they're like ranking stuff, but like using memes. And I've been doing them on TikTok. And yeah, just very quickly. So like it uses various memes like Moist's Criticals, woo, and things like that.
Love it.
To
Classic.
obviously, to show what's good and what's not and sort of thing. And I did one for video consoles. It didn't do well on YouTube Shorts, but it blew up on TikTok.
It did? And I don't know if I've seen it. I have something to say before we start, though.
Go for it.
I can bring us back in if you want me to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really, really hate choosing what my favorite things are. It is not a strength of mine, and it's terrible. And actually, it's funny. I will mention that I did have to do this like just the other week on a podcast that I was a guest on. Impossibly Unremarkable is the name of the podcast. One of my IRL friends invited me on there, which was really cool. And they wanted me to do a tier list of my 5 favorite video games of all time. So, extremely similar to what we're doing right now. We're just doing indie games, and that was like of all time. So you would think that was harder than indie games.
I don't think it is.
It was easier.
I don't think it is. Yeah, I was going to say.
It was easier. But shout out to Impossibly Unremarkable.
Oh, I need to.
Please check them out. They're pretty good. They're really funny. It's a comedy podcast, not insanely similar to what we do here, but not that we're not funny, Jax. We're funny, right? We're two funny lads.
I feel like you are very funny. I feel like you can't say if you're funny yourself because that's sort of self-aggrandizing. I don't know. Anyway, I think we do all right. Yeah,
we do all right here. But I guess maybe we should get going in regards to ranking, Jax, because we got a long way to go. We got 10 games in total, 5 from each of us. I think what we should do, right, is we should say start with number 5, like my number 5, and then number 5, and go back and forth.
Top 5 indie games.
Indie games. I want you to go first. Is that fair? Please go first.
I think I'm happy with my list, even though I changed it literally like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Okay, but I haven't changed number 5. Number 5 for me is a indie RPG Maker horror game called Pocket Mirror. And
yes, I've seen you stream this one.
It is, for me, without a doubt, one of the best games made in the RPG Maker engine ever. Like, I think what sort of takes it above other RPG Maker games, like when I talk about RPG Maker games, the ones that come to mind are you've got the horror games like Mizal, Mad Father, Ebe. I just played Ebe.
I've not heard of those.
But they are great games, and they're great at storytelling. Like, they're all very narrative focused. But what sets Pocket Mirror aside for me, aside from the great story and the themes and stuff, is the animations that they use in some of the storytelling, and the way it talks about each of the characters. Like, sometimes it's done like very like almost like arty crafty, like they're all cut out of cardboard and stuff, and they're done in like a paper theatre. It's just really like, I'm probably describing it very badly.
You're doing great.
You just kind of have to see some of the animation, and they're done so well. This is just a very small indie team, naturally, that did this.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But you could tell it was like a passion project. The story
Made with a lot of love, yeah.
Yeah, the story was, it sort of, I think it surprises you to a certain extent, especially at the end, just sort of what happens. And I won't go into too many details, but thematically there's a lot of sort of dark themes and very clever, puzzles within the game. Like, it uses that engine, that RPG Maker, maybe MV engine to its fullest.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to bring up, because I only found out about this recently, is that they're remastering Pocket Mirror. So I don't know if I'll play it necessarily again. I'm kind of tempted to, but I will see. But yeah, they're remastering it because they're also bringing out a prequel that very much plays into the original story of Pocket Mirror as well. So a lot going on with the team that do this, Astral Shift.
Astral Shift, nice.
Shift. Yeah, nice. Very, very good team, and definitely when I was thinking about the tier list, and I was like, there has to be like an RPG, like a classic RPG Maker game in there. And when I was going through the ones that I've played and seen and stuff, and I was like, yeah, it has to be Pocket Mirror. Go play it. It's free on Game Jolt.
Oh, it's free? Ooh, okay.
Completely
so my
free.
First question, would I get scared from Pocket Mirror? It's technically a horror game, right?
You wouldn't know.
No? Okay.
No, it's got sort of darker moments,
undertones,
but not really jump scary, and not really scary horror scary.
Okay. I thought, is there multiple endings? I thought I had heard that there was. Is that true?
There's at least 3. I can't remember. I think there's at least 3, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I have to check my playlist. I definitely got all of them.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw Pocket Mirror, I didn't realize that it was an RPG Maker game. Because, as you said, it's so well done. When I was watching you stream it that one time, it's all these actions and reactions are happening. And as someone who's personally messed around very minimally with RPG Maker, I know it's so hard to do and set up the action and reaction stuff in the background. There's a lot of mechanisms in regards to the cause and effect of programming that into a game. So the way that they have that set up for Pocket Mirror is pretty impressive. Isn't there a piano falling at one point and stuff? How do you even combine some of the animations into RPG Maker? Do you know, Jax? Do you have RPG?
I don't know. I would guess if they're the ones that I'm sort of referring to, I'm guessing they're done out of the MV engine and they're brought into it. Potentially, I'm not too sure. I would guess as much, because for me, those things take a seriously long time to do. And a lot of them seem, the art style of it, of each of these different things, they must be done outside of it.
Right.
I'd be surprised if they're done within it.
Oh, Jax, one thing that I did not mention when we started. Have we covered any of the games on your list? Because I, for one...
Yes, there is...
Specifically did not write down games we've covered.
Ooh, tasty.
Because I did not want to
both have one
myself.
That's the same.
Maybe we won't now.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, obviously on my list, I think Hades is probably my second favorite. It would be in my number 2. But we have a whole episode on Hades, so if you want to know my opinions, just listen to the episode on it.
Have you just spoiled what's already your number 2 spot?
Wait, what?
Did you just say Hades is your number 2 spot?
It would be if it were on my list. It's not, because
right.
Yeah, because we already covered an episode, and I didn't want to repeat my thoughts.
This is your top 5, so if it is there,
top 5 of all time. I mean, yeah, but I also want to include new games that people haven't heard of before. So,
okay. Make sure you're being true to yourself.
I am being true to myself, which is why I'm mentioning it right now. But in regards to what we're going to be talking about, it's not 100% accurate.
Okay, you
Jax's
make sure you
face is
mention that
rolling right now.
afterwards then.
I didn't know.
If
Yeah, I
Hades
mentioned
is your
this
second
before we
favourite
started. I
indie
said
game,
this was
then
hard for me.
it should be on the bloody list.
But they don't want to hear me talk about Hades again. They know
There's
that.
nothing wrong with talking a bit
people
more
know.
about Hades, dude. You can talk a bit about it.
Yeah, hold on. Are you getting upset because Hades is on your list? Can't confirm.
Spoilers, it is not on my list.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good. No, that's good for us.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So just FYI about my list. It'll be a tiny bit different. I'll start with my number 5. Yes, our number 5.
Well, yeah, you got to start with your number 5.
I don't think you've heard of this game before.
Ooh.
This is a little game called For the King. Have you heard of this one?
I've not.
You have not heard of this one.
Okay, tell me about it.
Okay. For the King is a strategic RPG that blends tabletop and roguelike elements in a challenging adventure that spans the realms. You can do this single player, but it is so much more fun to do it cooperatively. Essentially what this is, it's sort of like a tabletop D&D-esque game. The premise, it's not really spoiler, but the premise is that you, as a character, have a class that's like a lumberjack or a minstrel, and it's like you are not a hero. You did not want to be a hero, but the kingdom needs you now. So you need to set out and essentially become a hero. And so there's all these professions and classes that aren't in a normal game. And it's turn-based tabletop. So it's like turn-based combat. This is an RPG. We're going back to RPGs. Number 5 is an RPG. And it's really fun. I've played this with my brother, and we've always had a wonderful time. It's a fantastic game, and I highly recommend. It's an open world, super fun game. Jax, any questions? No?
Now, I'm not sure necessarily if it's something that I would be that interested in, purely because it's like D&D like.
It is
which isn't
D&D
necessarily my
strategic,
thing, but
is that just because of strategy stuff? You're like not a big you're not a big fan of strategy games, right?
I used to be very big strategy, but I rarely touch it now. Yeah.
I'm normally the same way. I don't like thinking when I play video games very much. Hence why I don't really play strategy games. But the reason why I love this one is just because of the multiplayer aspect to it. You essentially have a party of D&D characters, and you get to go around a board that's hexagon tiles, Jax. Don't you love hexagon tiles? I know you do.
In Fall Guys, maybe.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's open world. You can have up to 3 players. Just FYI, if anyone has played this game before, my go-to is the Scholar, which is essentially the mage player. It's pretty cool. Jax, you can also be a hobo, so that's a plus.
That's the thing.
And it's just a good game. I love it very much. Shout out to Iron Oak Games, the developer.
Nice. Oh, okay. Interesting.
I would like to hear your number 4 game, though, Jax.
Okay, so this was originally number 3, and I was like, nah, I have to swap them. Number 4 is a delightful indie coming-of-age story with beautiful art style that I think a lot of people know about. It's Night in the Woods.
I've not heard about this.
Dude.
Night in the Woods?
Hugely popular indie game when it came out. I'd say 2016, 2015.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I don't know about this at all. Okay, continue.
It's a great game. It's just very much a narrative driven story and a coming of age story about a bunch of friends, or the main character, May. Was it May? It's been so long. Who comes back to her hometown, and she is essentially seen as sort of a bit of a failure in her life compared to that of everyone else that sort of stayed in that town. She went off to college and kind of sort of, if it has been a while, but if memory serves, she sort of ruined her prospects. A lot of people look down on her for it, but she has a lot of sort of like mental health issues and just issues that a lot of teenagers and older teens can sort of relate to as you're growing up. But it's the character and the story of like friendship that really sort of drives this on. And within that, it's like a mystery, and it has sort of like almost like philosophical sort of themes to it. It's very dark. It gets quite dark at times. There's like some sort of hidden story behind it all as well. It's really good. Like it melds everything so well together.
That's so interesting because, like, I just looked it up on Steam really quick, and the contrast between the mature, darker themes and the storybook visuals, is so interesting.
The art style is so cute and pretty, and it really draws you in. As like you say, like it looks it's bubbly and stuff, and it is at times. And then in the same breath, like two people can have a conversation in it, and it just gets very sort of dark or emotional. And you can really relate to those characters, whether it's Greg or B. It's a great game, and I honestly can't, like, when I first watched it on YouTube, and I just remember being blown away by these characters and stuff, and I played it for myself. I never actually finished my Let's Play on on my channel because I think I lost the save data and had to restart, so that was annoying. But yeah, it's just a beautiful story, and the music, the soundtrack is it's magic. It's so good. Like I can't recommend it enough. There was some controversy a few years later after the game came out with the developer, and I'm not sure what it was exactly. I think it just had something to do with his personal life, and I don't want to get into it, but I just remember there being a lot of controversy around the developer. But in any case, that game was an amazing game, and I think a lot of people still consider it to be one of the best indie games. And for me, just narratively, along with the soundtrack and the art style, was it definitely hits my top 5.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put that one on my wish list.
It's a great game. It's on all devices as well. I think it's on Switch.
Oh, really? Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'll have to look in and play that one. I'm always good for a good story in a game. So just looking at it on Steam, it reminded me of Little Misfortune, the game, which I know you played similar as well.
Art style. That was a good game. That is not on my list.
It's not. I'm just gonna continue to throw out game names until at one point you'll be forced to say it is on your list.
I mean, I'll be honest. I did go through my YouTube channel to refresh my memory on a lot of indie games that I've played. Because I never really played indie games before I did my YouTube channel, so not many at all.
I think I'm the same way. I don't know if I played a lot of them until I did YouTube, but I mean, I thought it was. I mean, there's so many indie games out there. I'm sure we did, but all right, Jax. It is now time for my number 4.
Hit me.
Do you have any guesses? Before I say it, do you have any guesses for my number 4?
Well, from what you said earlier in the cut content, it's not Hades.
It's not Hades. I'll tell you that.
It can't be Hollow Knight, because that's got to be your number 1.
Oh, you're half right.
Oh, it is Hollow Knight.
No. It's funny. I said half right because my number 4 is Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is my number 4. I think everyone has at least heard of Shovel Knight before.
Great game.
Jax, have you played it? Have you beat the whole thing?
I played a lot of the expansion. I can't remember what it was called. The guy with the scythe.
Yeah, the Plague. What's his name? Yeah, the Plague guy. The guy with the Plague mask. Yeah, so I, of course, love Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is such a blast to play. It's just an old school arcade. Is it? I mean, I guess it is
It
arcade-ish, right?
is.
To the
It's very.
extent
It's yeah. It chooses to be retro in it, and it
it chooses to be
embraces it.
retro. Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it. And you're just Shovel Knight bouncing around. It's technically a platformer game. You have to, go through levels and defeat enemies, and there's a boss at the end. It's very arcade-esque in the style of like, okay, here's the level. Now I got to beat the boss and do all that to get to the end boss. And the map progresses from left to right, so you know exactly where you're going. It's not open world or anything, but it's refreshing because it's not everything's retro these days. You get to relive some of your old memories back at the arcade. And it's a great game. I love digging up gems. Gems are good. Who doesn't love gems in a game or like collectibles? The game is pretty hard though. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, it took me a little bit. I have beaten it. Don't at me yet. It was done. I know I don't normally beat every single game, but I did beat Shovel Knight. And yeah, it took me a little bit, but I think it was well worth it. What was the Jax? What's the one character? It's like the apple fish. It's not chucklefish. The one fish that's in the pond. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Am I gonna have to look it up now?
I think I played that first because I think it was like a prequel.
Really?
I think the Spectre Knight DLC was like a prequel to,
Yeah,
and it showed how
I
he
think you're
became
correct.
who he was with like
Yeah.
flashbacks and stuff. And I really enjoyed it. Like it was very good. And I played a little bit of the main game, but I generally sort of focused on Spectre Knight, and I really enjoyed it. It was really cool. I just like getting new coloured outfits.
Oh yeah, that is a big positive in the game is you change your little outfits the whole time. That surprised me the first time I found that out. I was like, I'm red now? I didn't know that. That's pretty neat. Also, of course, I didn't even mention it yet. You can do multiplayer in Shovel Knight.
Yeah,
I
boy.
beat the whole. Did I beat the whole thing? Oh no, I didn't. Oh no. Well, I did beat the whole thing, but I did a playthrough on my channel with Gobs, my brother, and we got almost all the way to the end. I don't know why we never finished it. I can't remember why, but if anyone wants to see my gameplay of it, it's on the channel. It's good.
You'll have to bring him back just to finish it.
Yeah, honestly though, probably should. But yes, the Applefish reigns supreme, and it's just a good game. Don't have much else more to say about it. It's just a good game. You should check out Shovel Knight. Jax, I believe you were up number 3 on the list, the old indie list.
I am. There's not a lot that needs to be said about this game that we haven't already discussed. Can you guess what it is?
Hades?
No. The only other one really you can think of.
Stardew Valley. Yeah.
Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
It originally wasn't in the list. It originally
What?
wasn't. And the more I sort of thought about it, and I was like, it can't not be, because I got lost in this game for so long. Like, don't get me wrong, I wasn't there in the beginning. It was only
when it first came out, at the height of its popularity.
I can't even remember if it was this year or last year. It was one of them two, and I just could not stop playing Stardew Valley. It's just an amazing game. Like I said, we've been through it before, but if for anyone that didn't watch that, we've done a full podcast on talking about how much we love Stardew Valley.
Very first episode.
It had to make it into my top 5 indie games because it's just like a breathtaking experience. You can do so many different things. You can like experience so many different characters and their stories. I think that's what kind of got me about the game was when you first, and without really realizing it, when you just talk to someone and you give them gifts long enough, and then this cutscene just randomly happens when you're doing something else, and you just, I'm gonna go in their house, just see what's going on. And then a random cutscene happens, and it's like a super emotional part of this character. You see what they're really like, and maybe why they act the way they act. and it just kind of hits you. And like, that's that sort of level of detail and stuff that I think a lot of games sort of miss. And just the way it's delivered in Stardew Valley, you know, forgetting about how good all of the actual, like the farming and the mining, all that sort of stuff. It's just the characters and all that sort of stuff that gets me, and why I just think it has to be at least number 3 in my list. Probably wouldn't have said that like a year or so ago. It's a great game, and I think most people know that by now.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's hope they keep updating it.
Yeah, I purposely thought about putting that on my list, and just because we talked about it already, I didn't.
So, okay, alright, can you stop right there? Are you trying to tell me that if we hadn't talked about it, it would be on your list?
At the end of the podcast, I will give you my true list.
Dude.
The people want to hear about new games. Someone is out here listening to podcasts right now, just writing down the games that we're talking about, seeing if they would be interested in it.
If you
so
are
I
that
wanted
person,
to give them a list.
please
themselves.
do comment on the YouTube video. Just I'm genuinely curious if there is a person that is doing that, and if so,
I mean,
point proven.
Point proven. Exactly. Stardew Valley, of course, is one of my safety games as well. Whenever I feel like I'm just stressed out and I don't want to stream something hard, because sometimes during my streams I have hard games. Like right now I'm playing through Cult of the Lamb, and it gets difficult near the end, and I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'm just gonna do Stardew Valley.
Spoilers, that nice, is not safe, in this list.
Calm. It's not in the list. Don't worry. Yeah, I of course agree with you. It should at least be 3 or higher. Stardew Valley always should be.
But not for you.
Jax, I have a number 3 as well.
Hit me.
You can probably guess this one, and I don't need to talk a lot about it, but number 3 for me is Fall Guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's technically an indie game. It's an indie game. Epic owns it now. Yeah, for sure. I play it every Thursday. Customs games, awesome. This is the only competitive game, don't bring up Fortnite. Apart from Fortnite, that I play on a regular basis.
That's fun.
It's really easy to get into in regards to entry level. There's like 2 buttons. You run, you can jump, and you can grab ledges, okay? That's all you need to know, alright? There's not any difficult controls. There's so many map variations, granted, when they're available. And the game is constantly being updated so that there's so many new skins, so many new maps, new challenges all the time. There's something new every time you log in. I can barely keep up with it. I follow them on Twitter, and it seems like every day is some kind of new thing. Either like, hey, we're announcing this collab with someone, or like, oh my gosh, this goal is going on right now, and you have 4 days to do it and get this cool costume. I've always been a huge advocate for Fall Guys. Still am, and I don't think that'll ever change. I think their game is amazing, and everyone should play it because it's free to play. It's a good game. Good party game.
It is a great game. I gotta say, like, when it first came out, I got it when it was in early access. I paid for it. It was a good game then. It's still a good game now, despite the recent issues that people have with it. And I think, it's very accessible, and it's surprising actually that what is essentially a rip-off of Takeshi's Castle, Ninja Warrior, and Total Wipeout hasn't been made into a battle royale game sooner. Like, it just makes sense.
You're right.
But like, it's got great design. It uses all the skins and that. It does lots of collaborations. It is a good game. It's a good bit of fun.
Yeah. And also, it's not out yet, but I do need to mention, custom map making is coming to the game.
That's good.
Eventually. And when it does, there will be another resurgence of Fall Guys, because there's, that's just a huge
quite
aspect
big.
of the
That could
game.
be like Mario Maker sort of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
except even better because you're gonna be able to play with multiple people on a Mario Maker map essentially for Fall Guys. And there's gonna be ridiculous stuff like maps that are
The only
completion rate at 0.
The only issue with that is that if there are maps designed for just one person, I think that's good. But you have to have a large enough group, and to be fair, your streams do, where you can get everyone into a specific custom map, because how would it work necessarily? You've just got to hope that there's lots of people picking a specific map that's on a, you know what I mean? So for the practicalities of it, it's not as straightforward necessarily, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably why it's not out right now in the game, is because it is so complex to implement. I just hope they do it right. I'm glad they can take their time. I don't care. They can take their time as long as it doesn't mess anything up.
No, I did have a feeling that Fall Guys might be on your list, to be fair.
Yeah, it's in my Steam library, the game I have with most hours. That's 340, I believe.
That's a nice segue into my number 2, the runner-up, if you will. Because this game I have, I believe, the most hours on my Nintendo Switch. And I also have not the same amount, but the highest number of hours of a game on my Steam library as well. So both for this game. What do you think it is? I'm just curious. You have an idea?
I should know. I don't. Repetitive game that you play.
Yeah.
That's an indie game.
Yeah. That's not Hades.
I don't know. I don't know.
It is.
What is it?
The Binding of Isaac.
Oh, duh. Oh my gosh. Of course it is. Of course it is.
Like, I never played roguelike games, or like that even I was sort of aware of in that sort of subgenre of games. But it's easily, I think, as much as I love Hades, and to be fair, there's probably some recency bias in Hades, but I do think that Binding of Isaac is the best sort of dungeon crawler roguelike that I've ever played.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
of all time.
Oh yeah. I think I don't know what other ones I've played, to be fair, so I could be.
I was gonna say I don't hate Binding of Isaac. We've talked about this before. I don't hate Binding of Isaac in any means.
Yeah.
But the RNG and stuff in the game gets to me.
That's what's so good. That's what's so good about it. The combination of abilities that you can get from the randomness of the items. It's just I can't get over how much detail goes into the combination of items. I know you get that in so many roguelike games anyway. I just seeing it in the Binding of Isaac, I guess maybe because it was like one of the first that I sort of really got into, but it really blew my mind seeing all these different, like, I'll have the same item that I had in a different run, only this other thing, it turns what's brimstone, which is like a red laser beam, into like a circle beam, and I can control it with my right analog stick because I got another item, and I can send that round the room, and it completely changes how you play it. And it was just, I couldn't get enough of it. And you add on top of that, like, every time I thought I reached sort of the deepest level of the game, and like the last boss, there would be another one, and then there would be another one, and then another one. And I just, every time I got further and further into this, it's literally like going down like a rabbit hole. Every time you're in Isaac, you drop down to the next level. And like, I remember when I got to, the Void, and I thought,
Void?
Yeah, it's the place called the Void. Like, for most people who know it, they're like, old news now, because the latest DLC just dropped. But yeah, when I got to the Void, and I can't remember I forgot the name of the boss, but when I got there and I beat him, I was like, this is nuts. And every time I'm like, how are you meant to beat that boss? And then one time I'll do it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that wasn't too bad. It keeps throwing stuff up at you. And like I say, it's probably because it was one of the first roguelikes that I got into. It was just such an amazing game. And literally would play it. I don't play it that much now, to be fair, but when I was in it, I was playing it every day, like legitimately every day, at least one run a day. And I just could not get enough of that game. And even the sort of the story elements that are not sort of thrown in your face, but they're like in endings at the end and little things here and there that just try and piece it together. I think that's really cute, and it's really like, it gives you another reason to sort of be more observant, especially to do with like items and stuff like that. It's just a fantastic game. It's not my number one, but it is my number two.
I'm a little surprised that you don't have more videos on it on your channel.
Like, I did for a while.
Backstory and stuff like that too.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, that's
like analyzing items and stuff. Like Isaac's tears were so and so, and like stuff like that. I can see you really getting in that because you do lore and tons of other indie games. So
yeah, that's a good point. I feel I do have a weird thing where if I've seen a video of like a really big channel that's covered a game, I immediately think that if I did a video, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah.
I know that's probably not the way to look at it, but that's just sometimes how my brain works.
No, and I mean, you're not wrong.
The Bind of Isaac was covered by Game Theory, and I was like, well, there's no point in me doing it. Which is not true. Like, if I wanted to, I could do a FNAF video, but
yeah,
part of me is just like, well, what's the point, sort of thing. But that's the wrong way to look about it. But anyway, off topic. Tell me your runner-up.
You're gonna be surprised. You're gonna be surprised.
Is it Hollow Knight?
No. Oh no. Oh god. Oh god. No. Oh, I would have a heart attack if that was number 2. My number 2 is Cult of the Lamb.
Really?
Believe it or not. Yes. Okay.
Damn,
for those of you that don't know, that do not know what this game is, it's a newer game.
Recency bias.
Recency bias. I mean, you're not incorrect on recency bias, but it's such a good game. Like, I started streaming it, and I was like, okay, this will be 3 episodes or something, right? I heard it's maybe like 15, 20 hours in order to beat the game itself. I'm taking my time with the game. It's so good. So, for those of you who don't know, it's a dungeon crawler mixed with Animal Crossing. And it's also got, if you are a Twitch streamer and hearing this, it's got Twitch integration. I am not a Twitch streamer, but the same rules can apply, where essentially you are a cult leader, you are making a cult, and you have little cultist members that are sort of like the Animal Crossing portion of it, and they, do little tasks for you in your base in between the dungeon experience, right? And your chat can essentially be named after each individual animal in your cult. So it's been so much fun to just like play it and like name my cult after people in chat. And then like anytime anyone comes in, they're like, yo, am I still alive? Or like, what happened to me? Or like, I'll straight up be like, there's a building that's like, I think it's a missionary building or something. Essentially, you can send like your villagers out to go and do quests. And there's a chance that if they fail the quest, they'll just die. So I'll straight up like be like, all right, who wants to go on a quest? And then everyone in chat is like, me. And then like, I'll be like, okay, all right, you can go on a quest. Do you want an easy quest or a hard quest? Because like, you'll see like a list of like, okay, do I want to send them out for meat? Do I want to send them out to maybe recruit another follower, which is the hardest one? And like, people will be like, yo, send me out on the hardest quest. It's a 69% success rate, but I'll do it.
Nice.
And there's just so much fun in regards to like having a combined collaboratory experience with your chat. So maybe it is biased in regards to it being a recent game. Maybe it's biased in regards to it being, as a creator itself, maybe you wouldn't find it as fun if you weren't a streamer or creator. But for me, it's a cute game. It involves RPG elements. and Animal Crossing, and I don't know how you could not love it, frankly.
The art style is cute, I gotta say. Like, I haven't watched one of your streams back yet, but it does seem like a good game. It's got good reviews and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and they keep adding to it too. Right now, I think they just mentioned that they're adding an event. I don't know if it's DLC or an event, but they're announcing something as well. And I believe they keep adding followers too. The internet's like going wild over this new follower they just had, which is a crow. But if you look at the art style, Jax, the crow has a mouth. So its beak is not its mouth.
Oh, that's weird.
So it's just got like a beak and then a mouth underneath it, and everyone's like, "What is that thing? Oh my god!" But weird. Anyway, I digress.
I'm surprised that's your number 2. Yeah, that is
really?
A bit of a shit. Like the fact that beats out some other like some top tier indie goodness.
Oh yeah.
There's like the honorable mentions are going to be so funny. I can't wait to do them.
I think it's time, Jax. You're number 1.
I don't know how, for a lot of indie game players and a lot of internet people and a lot of YouTube people, I don't know how this game isn't their number 1. Because Undertale has to be the number 1. Like,
yeah,
it was when we said we were going to do this, I was literally like, Undertale, number 1. Like, without a doubt. Nothing I've played in terms of an indie game beats Undertale. Now, for a bit of context from me, I missed when it first dropped. I missed all of the hype that surrounded it when, like, I think it showed like the demo and stuff at various like expos and stuff like that. And I think I sort of heard about it on YouTube and whatever. And I watched a bit of it and I was like, I should play this. And it was just the most, it's very hard to describe, but it's the most breathtaking game ever. So yeah, he used, Game Maker Studio, Toby Fox, the developer that most people would know if they have watched
Shout out
anything.
to Toby, friend of the pod.
all in-depth friend of the pod. This game has been talked to death on the internet. Like the game's got like subgenres of fandom and like other worlds and stuff. Like I don't need to explain necessarily why it's so good. Like the way it breaks the fourth wall, like the characters and how much you really feel for each of the characters and what they're going through. And again, it's a lot of the themes for each of the characters can be really relatable. It's freaking heartbreaking. And it's heartwarming. It's cute in some elements, you know. It does stupid, like, dad jokes and puns and stuff.
Papyrus.
Which is really good. Gotta love Papyrus. Which brings me on to the audio. The soundtrack is straight fire.
So good.
Everyone knows how iconic some of those tracks are in the Undertale soundtrack. It's just unbelievable. And then you have the different routes that you can choose to do through the game. You can do the genocide route. You know, you can do like your standard thing, or you can do the pacifist route. And what I love is that behind it all, it's got that theme of like, humanity and what humans are. Cause the assumption is that, humans are always the good guys in things and the monsters are the bad guys. And the fact that it flips this round and that no, actually monsters can be good people and humans very much can be bad people if they wanted to be. Talking about the genocide route real quick. That's normally a route that you would play after you've done either the standard ending or the pacifist ending. So you've gone through all of the emotion. You've built up relationships with these characters. You love all of them. You love your goat mum. You know, you love all of this. And then you're like, oh, I wonder what happens if I like kill like everyone. And just the way, like, if you take out every enemy in one section, the music like slows down or just stops.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. The music changes, and then when there's meant to be a battle, like an enemy that appears, and it just says, "But nobody came." It's so eerie and so creepy, and it's just amazing how this game can do that in one sense and be so sort of heartwarming and bright in another. It will forever be the most iconic indie game, like, of all time. And I will stop soon. But like, even when they throw in like little like secrets that mean almost nothing, like WD Gaster.
Yeah, I was gonna mention Gaster.
This was it. Like, he appears like once every, I don't know how many games. He actually appeared for me in my second run. I saw the Grey Door and I saw him and I was buzzing. But like, that just literally exploded. It's like, who is this guy? Like, where is he? And then everyone's like hacking the game files, being like, oh, that's his name is WD Gaster. What does WD Gaster mean? And everyone's theorizing. It's just great. And I'm pretty sure the dev had no idea how much the game would, like, the fandom is insane. And
I've heard some things about the fandom.
From about 2015, I'd say probably to like 2018, 2019, it was still going. It was insane. And obviously there's still people that love the game and stuff. That has died down now. And obviously Deltarune, not a sequel, but set in another parallel world or whatever you might say, is being done in chapters, which I think is good for Toby Fox himself, because he can break it down, like he can relax between chapters and stuff. But it won't ever, like, no matter what happened in a sequel or in Deltarune, it would never top what Undertale was and what it did. Like, it was just an unbelievable game. Unbelievable. Yeah. And it has to be number one.
I've never done the Genocide run. I don't know if I want to. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I want to.
You have to do it once just to see it. The boss fights are so hard. Like, you heard, like, notoriously, the Sans boss fight at the end is just ridiculous. Undyne's boss fight is ridiculous. Like,
Undyne's already so hard.
You think the bosses in the, like, the pacifist or in, like, the standard run are, like, sort of tough, and you sometimes have to figure out clever ways of actually beating them. But mate, the Genocide route is just insane. I don't think that's the technical word for it, but that's what everyone called it anyway. Which is just murdering everyone.
Yeah, I've beaten the game once. I do have a full playthrough on my channel. Me and Gobs played it. It was like one of our first series, actually. And we... spoiler, just in case you want to watch that. But essentially, we messed up really bad. We ended up doing the neutral path. I was trying to go for the pacifist run.
Yeah.
And I ended up killing the lovely cow mom. And,
oh my god. Dude, you managed to kill her.
He wouldn't stop fighting me. Like, literally, I was trying to get past, and she was like, "No, you gotta fight and be strong." So I was like, "Okay," and then I did. After minutes of me trying to not fight her, and then after that, I continued to save and do the pacifist run. But at the end, I realized it was too late. There was no going back.
Poor Goat.
Yeah, no, Undertale's a good pick. Good work. Good work.
It also had really great puns, like Toriel being the tutorial.
I never realized that. Wow, I'm stupid. Okay. My number one, Jax. I know you're dying to know. You probably can't even guess it. Bro, you can't even... If I didn't put Hollow Knight as number one...
Yeah, that would be weird. No, it wouldn't necessarily have to be a number one, but it definitely has to be on your list.
I literally have a Hollow Knight tattoo. Like, I could not put Hollow Knight as... Could not put Hollow Knight as number one. Hollow Knight. If you guys hadn't heard it already from me, I mean, I basically talk about it a little bit in every episode, pretty much. It's the gold standard Metroidvania, the highest pedestal of Metroidvania that there is. It is a perfect game. I don't know. It's hard to talk about Hollow Knight for me because I want to do it justice, and that's partially why we haven't done an episode on it yet.
Okay.
So I won't go into huge details in regards to why, because I want to save my loving words for when we do an episode on it. But
I
it is.
Know. I want
You want
to
to know? You want to know why?
I mean, I've played like an hour of it.
You've only played an hour?
I need to give it more, but like it's not like The Witcher 3 at the minute. It's just not hitting me yet.
Okay. All right. Witcher 3, I understood because it can be a lot. Witcher 3 is a lot. I did the same thing. We just talked about this. But Hollow Knight, you gotta get into it, man. You have to. For one, the map itself is one of the best things I've ever seen in a game. Like, I cannot even begin to describe how crazy the world itself is. The whole thing is beautiful. It's part 2D and also 3D, I guess, 3D. So, like, it's drawn out, and then there's also moving aspects of the background. So the whole game itself, pretty much art, I would say. It does look
great. Yeah.
I would consider it art. Yes, it looks amazing. The map is so intricate that I still sometimes find new things all the time. Like, I'll find, like, a room or something that I did not know existed before. There's breakable walls. Dare I say more, Jax? You love breakable walls. You're a Zelda fan.
The map thing was something... I couldn't follow the map. I mean, and I will preface this by saying I have terrible sense of navigation, like, in all aspects. In video games, in real life, like when I drive, I get lost very easily. But I couldn't work out how to... Unless I need a compass or something, I couldn't work out where I was meant to go in the map. Do I need... Do I need an item?
I'm not making fun of you. There's an ongoing joke in the Hollow Knight community.
Oh no.
That the best charm in the game, which is, those items that you can stick on to buff your character, the knight, is the Wayward Compass. And its only purpose is to show you on the map. Because normally you don't show up on the map.
That would be perfect.
Yeah. So I even still use it. I memorize the whole map pretty much because I just like to see where I am at all times.
But that should be a freaking standard.
That's the genius of why it's not, is because you're meant to feel overwhelmed in this world. You're meant to not be aware of what's going on, and you're not supposed to be in control. The whole point of the game, and it's not really a spoiler so much because you do find it out a little bit later, but there's a plague, like a virus going around in this world, and that's why all these bugs are essentially aggressive towards you. This whole thing has taken over the whole world, and it just makes it terrifying. And not having a sense of control in the game is one of its positives. You are constantly exploring the world, coming about new things, new secrets. It's good to not know where you are on the map, Jax. Is, in short, my summary of it.
Okay.
But don't worry. What we'll do is we'll just have you stream the game, and I'll just be there the whole time.
Maybe.
Not necessarily directing you, because that would defeat the purpose of the game itself. But I'll be there if you have questions.
Okay. Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's well defined as being like a great indie game. And like, I remember when Hades dropped, and I was like, not really my thing, even though it was like Game of the Year. And I ended up getting it, and like I played it non-stop for it. Like, so I'll probably, if I give it more time and I like focus on it, I'll get into it probably. But
I think it's only fair, because I think like literally I've beaten your number one, and you haven't even played over an hour of my number one? This isn't equality, Jax. The people demand justice.
We'll have to do like a trade sort of thing. So I will try and play Hollow Knight if you play Night in the Woods.
I can do that. I can do that.
Because it's not super long. Like, it's decently long, but it's not super long at all.
Can I play that on my channel? You said mature themes, right? Like
mature themes, yeah.
Okay, like, it's just darker, like struggling with depression or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, things like that.
Okay, I'm adding it to my wish list right now, okay? I literally went on Steam, added it to my wish list.
The next time, because I'd much prefer to play it on Switch, because I'll probably play it more. The next time it's reduced on the Switch, I'll pick it up.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Deal. That is fair.
Awesome. So those are our top 5 indie games of all time.
Of all time,
regardless of if we've talked about them on the channel already.
Yeah, I cheated, but you know, what can you do?
Okay, so for the record, tell us what is your top 5, regardless of the fact that we've talked about it. Does Stardew and anything else make it into that group?
Yeah. So really, it would be like number 5 would be For the King. Number 4 would be Fall Guys. Number 3 would be Stardew. Number 2 would be Hades. And number 1 is Hollow Knight.
That's a good list. A good list. You should have just done that, but okay.
Hey, people can criticize me all that. Guys, if you didn't enjoy my games that you haven't heard of before, please let me know and I will recorrect myself.
Now, before you guys start screaming at us in the comments,
yes.
Now, I don't know if you do, but I have a long list of honourable mentions that we have to bring up.
I have a couple, and I think this is what we should do. We're just going to say the names of it. We're not going to say anything else.
Okay. Go for it.
I'm going to give you one, and then you're going to give me one.
All right.
And we're going to go back and forth until one of us can't think of an honourable mention.
Okay. Wicked. I love it.
Good? Yeah. Okay. Risk of Rain.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Risk of Rain 2.
Raft.
Lethal League.
Cuphead.
Rogue Legacy.
Among Us.
What?
It's an
indie game. Did you say
game.
Among Us?
Among Us.
No, I know it is. I just didn't know you liked Among Us.
I really, don't get me wrong, I think it deserves an honourable mention for as big as it got. And as much as I'm not good at, I'd love to play it, one, if I had a large group of friends, because I can't play it with randoms, I just can't. And two, I'm really bad at lying. Like, like that one time that we did it with like Nina and those other things, I was so bad. I know. I'm like, even if someone accuses me and I'm not the guy, like I remember Forever Nina, she accused me and I didn't know how to defend myself, even though I wasn't the guy.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was so good. Same. I can't lie either. I just can't do it. If I'm the what is it?
I forget what it's called.
The imposter. The imposter. If I'm the imposter, I automatically lose. Like, just because I don't know what to do. And if someone straight out says like, "I saw you vent," I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, that was me. That was me. I vented. I was the one who vented."
I think what was so good about Among Us is that it, especially just on like YouTube and Twitch and stuff, is it brought so many different communities of people together, because to make it so much fun, you're bringing in like 8, 9, 10 people into one game. And it was as much fun watching it as it was playing it. And I think it has to be an honourable mention.
Yeah. You know what we're going to do? I am going to organize a YouTube Among Us game where every single person is going to be a YouTube creator. And we're just going to do a little collab, and it'll be really fun. And I'll figure it out, but we're going to do it.
Damn, I love that. I'm so up for that, but I'm going to be awful.
Anyway,
it's your turn.
It's my turn. Okay.
Honorable mentions.
Spelunky.
Oh, I just shuddered. I don't know why. I've never even played Spelunky. I guess it's because of this one. And this one was originally in my top 5 before it got knocked out. Doki Doki Literature Club.
Ooh, yeah, that is an indie, I guess, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
No. Doki Doki's pretty good. Forager.
Firewatch.
I have no. Oh, Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire. Such a good game.
Little Nightmares.
That almost made mine. Little Nightmares 2. Wait, I've never played that one. I'm just kidding. I'm lying now.
Have you run out? I've got like another
Did I run
9.
Out? Yeah, you just go ahead. You go ahead. You need one more.
One Shot. Great game. Sally Face.
I was thinking of that. Yeah.
You were thinking of what? One Shot. Have you played?
Yeah, when we were talking about Undertale, I was like, oh yeah, One Shot.
One Shot is great. Definitely not on the same level, but like a very good, very, very good indie game.
Yeah. I saw Markiplier play it, but I haven't played it myself. But...
You should. It's really good. Yeah. Sally Face, which is a great point and click story game. Faith, I got to throw Faith in there just because it's such a unique retro twist on horror. Just brilliant. This is the one that no one else cares about, but I'm going to say it. Splitgate. That game that's now officially dead. They are no longer supporting it.
I forgot all about it. Oh my gosh.
I should have brought that up as news, but yeah, Splitgate's died. No one cares. Like, it's such a shame. Like, I just want to talk just like a minute. Like, it's such a shame because its concept was really good. Like, it was. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm sure it had its faults and stuff like that, but the Portal stuff made it so much fun. And don't get me wrong, every other like AAA shooter game will probably end up having a Portal mode that will basically be what Splitgate is, which is, I think they should now, because this is it's essentially dead. But I really enjoyed playing it because I felt like I actually had a chance because I could Portal like near someone and shoot them. I don't have to be great at sniping and stuff. Like I can use the Portal to gain an advantage. I don't know. It's one of the few newer first FPSs that I really, really got into.
Yeah. Just to clarify, did they take off the online service? Like it's not available at all?
They're like not anymore at all because the player base dwindled so badly, which is a real shame. But like, yeah, they're moving on to other stuff now, and I think they decided that they would, if they were going to continue it, they obviously needed the player base because it was already free to play. So maybe what Fall Guys did makes more sense is to bring the game out, people pay it and stuff, and then maybe make it free later down the line. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole can of worms that we won't go into right now.
Okay, I've got 5 more.
Purchasing. 5 more?
Yeah, but you've talked about one of them already. So To the Moon, I don't know if you've ever heard of To the Moon.
I have heard of it.
It's a super emotional RPG Maker game. Super emotional. Yeah. And just, it's great. 2 Point Hospital, which was like a spiritual successor to Theme Hospital.
Okay.
They just brought out a new game it's coming out called 2 Point Campus, which is like universities essentially. Colleges and stuff. Yumi Nikki, another RPG Maker horror game.
Heard of that one.
Yeah, that is quite iconic in RPG Maker games. Frambo, great game.
Yep.
Great game. Okay. And then the last one I had on the list was Hades.
Gotta put Hades on there. You have to.
Yeah, boy.
So good.
But there's so many. You know, I think
there's so many.
And I think what people have to keep in mind is that these are our own opinions based on games that we've played. Like, so if you were talking about a general like indie games of all time that's not necessarily like our favorites, then stuff like Five Nights at Freddy's probably would get in there and stuff like that.
That's true. Yeah.
But again, these are our personal opinions based on our gaming experiences. Feel free to tell us yours in the comments, because I'm curious to know what's better than Undertale, because it sure ain't Hollow Knight.
Wow. Wow. All right.
joking,
All right. We won't get into that. I'm not gonna take the bait on that one.
But we do need to talk about the latest 5 verses.
We do have to talk about that. Yes.
Disappointing as hell.
If you listened to last episode, guys, Jax graciously said that I could pick what we were doing. I didn't really want to think about it too long. I could have strategized and been like, what's a game I know I could win at? But you know what? I felt confident today. I really did. I felt great. So I said to Jax, I'm going to double down and we're going to play Fortnite again. And that's exactly what we did. So we repeated last week's Vibe versus challenge where we dropped on different ends of the map in duos and whoever died first lost. And your boy came out on top. It finally happened after... Oh my gosh. Didn't you win all of yours in a row? So it's been
Yeah, I won 6 in a row.
Technically, since it's a bi-weekly podcast, it's been 12 weeks since I've won.
Damn, dude. Because you
sad.
Yeah, you won the first 2, and then I was like, oh crap. Something's got to change, yeah.
Oh, it was a dream at one point. But anyway, your boy's up 1. It's now 3-6.
3, yeah, boy.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I think
I did
you
not
needed
win
that
the game.
for your motivation, you know. Yeah, it was disappointing because there was no one. I saw no one for ages. We both dropped sort of around the middle of the map, and I didn't see anyone. And then I saw a duos pick up some stuff. I literally one-shotted the guy with a sniper, and then his mate somehow, I don't know if it might have been someone else actually, managed to just get around my 6 and just take me out, and that was it. And then you died shortly after that.
Yeah,
it was a short one.
It was a short one, boys and girls, but that's okay. That happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening to our lovely little podcast, Video Game Vibes. If you like the podcast, if you liked our lists, if you like our opinions, if you like hearing Jax's very British voice, please give us a 5-star rating or review on the listening platform of your choice. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button. And it's been a pleasure talking to you today.
Do let us know if you want us to do more sort of tier lists or rankings and stuff, because as difficult as I found it to be very fun actually. And
it was fun.
We may have to do it with other things. Maybe do our top ones of all time.
I do have the list already.
You do have the list, yeah. So
between now and then, I'm gonna probably rethink things.
I don't know why. It's very easy to pick the number 1, and then after that, I find it really difficult because I know what my number 1 game is. But after that, it's like, where does the rest fit in? You know. But let us know. Give us that feedback. Let us know. And thank you again for listening. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next one when it will be much closer to Christmas. Can you believe it?
Oh my gosh, it will be. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
We're getting there. Crazy.
Getting there. Good.
Merry Christmas, guys.